And so for those of you who watch my channel, please know that this is a radio show and we do take breaks. So if you perceive it as interrupting the doctor or interrupting my guest, I'm very sorry, but a hard out is a hard out and we have to do it that way. Dr. Fuhrman knows it, right, Dr. Fuhrman? That sometimes we just got to interrupt. And, right?
Whatever you do is great with me.
So this is a radio show that we record the on and off the air conversations. I don't edit it, and I know you have suggestions for that too, but I don't edit. And the reason why is that I'd rather have you get the information as is, and you decide what you want. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But just know that today we have Dr. Joel Fuhrman. For those of you who are watching live on Facebook, please be patient with me, because what happens is I only see 4 questions at a time. And if you guys start asking lots of questions, then I'll miss some of the questions, which is fine. You can ask the questions, but we'll catch it later on. During the breaks, we'll answer your questions. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, feel free to leave questions for the next time that we have Dr. Fuhrman. He is so generous with his time and is a wonderful friend of the show. So fasten your seatbelts, because we're about to learn and grow together. Let's hit it with a theme song. Also, we also get muted when the theme song comes on. So here you go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful best day ever. And for those of you who've been tuning into the show since 2011, or maybe you just started watching us yesterday on Facebook Live at Lillian's radio show, or maybe you caught us on Facebook or YouTube or wherever the radio for the first time, welcome back. I'm glad that you have joined us. But if this is the first time that you have joined us on the Lillian McDermott radio show, just know that I've been waiting for you. Please know that this is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. And it is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal. And it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. I am so excited that part of living the life of my dreams includes Dr. Joel Fuhrman. Dr. Joel Fuhrman has been a friend of the show monthly. He comes on every month, and I'm so thrilled since 2015 that he is so loyal, and he is bringing this news, this information of hope and empowerment, so like-minded. We can decide what we want food to be. Do you want food to be a weapon of mass destruction, or do you want it to heal every cell in your body? Hey, if you haven't had your G-bombs today, it's time to do so. And so today we have Dr. Joel Fuhrman. He's a New York Times bestselling author, teacher, researcher. And he's a great dancer. Even though he will not dance on my show, he is an awesome dancer. I've seen him do it. And so today we're going to be taking more questions. So if you're on Facebook Live, we will answer your questions during the break, maybe sometimes bring it during the show. And if you're listening on the radio right now and you want to listen to watch us on a live broadcast, you'll have to join us when we are doing the live broadcast on Facebook Live. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Dr. Joel Fuhrman is here to do just that. Welcome, Dr. Fuhrman, to the Lillian McDermott radio show.
Hi, Lily. Great to be here.
And I am thrilled every time you come on. Now, before we get started, because I know everybody has questions for you, the first thing I'd love for you to share is the research that you have done and how you're giving back with your research foundation. Would you like to share a little bit about your foundation, the Nutritional Research Foundation, and everything that you're doing to change the way we look at disease?
That's right, Lily. It's been very rewarding and dear to my heart to not just help my patients and people who've come to me, but also to reach out and enable other physicians, other health professionals, and give people more hope. And by being involved in the last 10 years with producing nutritional research that can further cement and spread this information among health professionals, that's been very rewarding. So I'm, as the president of the Nutritional Research Foundation, we've fundraised, and also I have to say a lot of the money supporting that foundation is coming from my own pocketbook, obviously, and the sales of some of the products on my website support the foundation, so we're able to do more research. And we've been running now ongoing. We've produced about 5 or 6 new research projects this month. I have 2 new research studies coming out in the International Journal of the International Journal of Reversal and of Prevention and Reversal Disease. So I think, and so I have 1 article coming out on psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis reversal, and I have another article coming out on the reversal of and then the treatment of type 1 diabetes with Nutritarian diet. And I have an ongoing research project that's been going on for years now, and we're recruiting women ongoing in the Nutritarian Women's Health Study. We support, and we have a Nutritarian Research Office, a Nutritional Research Foundation research office in Northern Arizona University, at the university. Dr. Sutliff, a PhD RD, is the head of that office there, and he's the head of the nutritional research, the Nutritarian Women's Health Study, where we support women who are eating healthfully and tracking their health parameters for decades in the future to show that we can prevent cancer. And in doing so, by recruiting women into the study and forming a group of women who are eating together and know that their health is being tracked, it actually works to motivate them and encourage them to keep eating healthfully. So to be part of that study, if a woman wants to join that study, there's no charge for it. And that they can go to nutritionalresearch.org and click on the link to the Nutritarian Women's Health Study and learn more about it. And of course, I'm always looking for people to help support our research. And this spring, in another month or so, I'm going to Aspen, where we're doing a little fun week of nutrition, a fundraiser for the Nutritional Research Foundation. So people come to Aspen, they still have a good time, and it's fundraiser for this study.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And so today, if you have a question for Dr. Fuhrman, you can call or text 407-373-5959. You can also send me a message in Messenger, or just go to @Lillian's Radio Show on Facebook.com. We're live. You can go to whenyouneedafriend.com and click on the Facebook icon too, if it's too inconvenient for you. And we're going to continue our conversation and learn and grow with Dr. Fuhrman, who is world-renowned, and we're so blessed to have him. And that will be right here waiting for you.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
So Dr. Fuhrman, we have I'm going to make the questions live a priority as often as we can. So we have Cersei. I hope I said your name properly. She says, "Hi, Dr. Fuhrman. Can you list supplements my 5-year-old who is transitioning to a plant-based diet?" And also she says, "Can you point out some resources for feeding a child plant-based? And lastly, will you be speaking in Florida anytime soon? And thanks for the work that you have done. You're an inspiration to her." So, and I say that to you all the time. Thank you, Dr. Fuhrman.
Thank you. Yes, I've written a book called Disease Proof Your Child, which perfectly answers her question, and is a book to encourage, motivate, and teach people how to raise healthy children and make it fun. And I have to say the recipes in there to make the food. Kid-friendly foods are fantastic, and a lot of the most favorite recipes on my repertoire of recipes are in that book, Disease Proof Your Chocolate. Is the way I raised my children on those recipes. And yes, I do have my own supplements that I've designed for people who are transitioning or who are on a vegan diet to make sure they're getting the extra B12 and the extra zinc and the iodine and the things that you would need, and not to take things you would not need that could be harmful, like folic acid. And that's the main reason I designed my supplements. So if you're looking for a supplement for a child, my children's supplement is called Pixie Bites. So
Great name.
They're chewable, and they make them in a powder. You can mix it in food, and there's a lot of food in there too. There's a lot of like organic food in there, so it's kind of a food-based supplement, but it also has enough B12 and the extra nutrients that you would not get sufficiently on a vegan diet or a near vegan diet.
Yes, and so the last question is, when will you be the next time you're in Florida?
I don't know.
We'll get back to you. Okay, so we are about to go. How much time do we have? We have about, 30 seconds? We're ready to get started. Yep. And are we going to be muted soon? So Kyle, I'll get your next message, which the question is, saturated fats in coconuts, a concern for someone drinking coconut milk or eating coconut yogurt daily. So we'll address that when we go back. We're about to be muted.
Count on me, I'll be right here waiting for you.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show / classroom, where we all learn together. And today's teacher is Dr. Joel Fuhrman. And we are taking questions, your questions that from month to month. We did this one time and it was so successful that we had so much questions left over. So Dr. Fuhrman said, okay, we'll do it another month. And now we're on our 4th take on this. And so keep those questions coming. And they're, because this is our classroom, not just mine. I'll ask my questions because it's my show. But if you have questions, then ask your show. So before we came back from the break, Dr. Fuhrman, on Facebook Live at Lillian's radio show, hint, if for those of you who want to be in a live show, you need to join us on Facebook. So Kyle wants to know, is saturated fat in coconuts a concern for someone drinking coconut milk and eating coconut yogurt daily?
It depends on the quality of the rest of their diet. In other words, the amount of saturated fat and calories and fat you consume is cumulative. So if they're already eating other sources of fat and other sources of saturated fat, it could be, a negative. And of course, I always say that we want to have a good omega-3, omega-6 ratio on our body and on our body's cells. But if you're not eating, you don't have to eat 1-to-1, 3-to-6, because we're burning off the excess 6 for energy, since we're undershooting our calories a little bit with moderate caloric restriction. What I'm saying right now, if this person is moderately undereating, they can burn off the unfavorable fats and utilize them for energies as opposed to storing them on the body. So just that little bit of coconut or one coconut yogurt or in a whole diet that whole day, it shouldn't be that much saturated fat to put that person into trouble. Some cashew nuts, pecans have 10%. Olive oil is 14% saturated fat. In other words, some plant oils have some saturated fat in them, and the body can tolerate a little bit of saturated fat unless you're overdoing on calories and overdoing on fat in general, and you're putting fat on your body. It's fat on the body that's the most dangerous fat. So I don't think a little bit of coconut, except, the average American, though, is putting olive oil on top of the coconut, and they're throwing on, a lot of different oils in their diet, and then all those sources of fat do become a risk factor.
Yeah.
In other words, the olive oil plus the coconut is a risk factor. If you had 30 calories of olive oil, it's not the same as 200 calories of olive oil. Your body can handle 30 calories of olive oil, just not 200. Your body can handle, the little bit of fat from coconut, but not if it was on top of the olive oil and they had 120 calories of coconut fat. Then they're going into 250 calories of unfavorable fats. So it's all about the amount here. How much do you?
Yes. And I think that there's a huge myth about the olive oils and the coconut oils and all these different oils that people think, oh, well, olive oil is really good for you. And they don't monitor the amount, because you talked about 200 calories of olive oil. That's a small amount of olive oil, right?
It's 120 calories per tablespoon.
Yeah.
That's correct. So oil is cancer. I'm saying that oil causes cancer. Olive oil causes cancer. And the reason I'm saying that is because it goes from your lips to your hips in 5 minutes. It makes you fat. Unless you're really caloric restricting, and if you're having an extra 200, 300 calories from oil, which is an empty calorie food, there's no fiber, there's no micronutrients, it doesn't have any benefit, doesn't have those beneficial longevity promoting effects. You're just putting extra calories in your diet, and it's putting more fat on you. And more fat produces inflammatory cytokines, the inflammatory, because fat is not perfused with enough oxygen, it doesn't have enough blood supply. So fat cells produce more free radicals than other cells do in your body. So they produce more inflammatory compounds. They excite aromatase to produce more estrogen. The extra fat on your body, the more estrogen you produce. The more estrogen is produced to then stimulate the breast and the prostate, increasing the risk of breast and prostate cancer. And they produce angiogenesis promoters, which are permissive for cancer. So fat on the body means higher rate of cancer. Therefore, the olive oil making you fat is increasing your risk of cancer. It's easy. You have to look to remove empty calories from your diet, not add empty calories on your diet. So whether it's coconut oil, olive oil, or even flaxseed oil, whatever oil you're eating, those are usually excess calories you don't need, and those calories are putting an extra couple of pounds on your waist each year. And the thing is that nuts and seeds are so critical and important for extending human lifespan. So what's it going to be? Walnut oil or the walnut?
Yes.
Pecans or the pecans, and you get so much benefit from the whole food, and you don't want to do both. If you do both, you're exceeding your caloric requirements. If you have to just do one, you're much better off with the nut or seed and getting rid of the oil.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So let's make this a practical, even more practical. Let's talk about, how to make a delicious meal without oil, because I learned how to saute without oils from you, Dr. Fuhrman. I credit that to you. And so would you like to share how simple it is to remove the oil and maybe add water or broth, or even, I don't know, we can do it with wine too, right? Because the alcohol burns out.
Right. Well, the one thing is salad dressings. So we make salad dressings by mixing a walnut vinaigrette or a walnut balsamic, or I have, an orange sesame dressing with sesame seeds, cashews, and oranges and lime, or a little rice vinegar. I use a blood orange vinegar, is really fantastic in there. A tomato-based dressing with tomato paste, sun-dried tomatoes, roasted garlic, almonds, sunflower seeds. Put a little balsamic vinegar in a raisin, or fig vinegar in a fig. And we make the most incredible dressings, Caesar dressings with a little bit of tofu and nutritional yeast, and a little bit of kelp, and a little bit of low-sodium miso, and and some walnuts. And so make all kinds of fantastic dressings, and that's what I really is my career, is giving people these great dressings. And like you were saying, you can walk in tomato sauce and pineapple and vegetable broth and all these things, but I just walk in water most of the time.
Yeah.
Water. I walk the snow pea pods and the Chinese cabbage and the water chestnuts and the onion and the scallion and the mushroom, and then I put this. Then when after 5 or 6 minutes of walking the veg, tossing it around, while that's in there cooking, I'll make a sauce. Either I'll open a sauce out of a jar, one of my sauces, or I'll make a sauce in the blender. Yeah. I'll blend a date, some almond butter, some hemp seeds, some turmeric, some cumin, some lemongrass powder in there, or lemongrass paste, or I'll whip up a piece of lemongrass. And I'll strain it, I'll strain it, the flavor right in there. But whatever it is, I'll make this delicious sauce, whip it up, and turn the blender on, and pour it onto the dish, toss it around for 1 minute, or shut the flame off and toss it around for 1 minute. Mm-hmm. Just add the sauce after it's cooked. You don't have to cook it in the sauce. And it's fantastic.
Yes.
So there's no, it's very easy to make foods taste great. You don't have to fry them in oil. When you heat oil and you cook foods in oil, the oil becomes rancid and carcinogenic and dangerous. We shouldn't be heating things and cooking things in oil. So it's very important to wok things and fry things in water, not in oil.
And along with that, a lot of people cook meats in oil. So a tip for people who would like to have meat, a small amount or whatever it is, you talk about poaching as the best option. Would you like to add more to that?
No, I won't even recommend that, because then you're cooking a meat or a piece of animal product. That's too much animal product. In other words, use it as a flavoring or as a spice.
Well, that's what I mean. No, I'm not talking about, I said a little bit amount.
Oh, right.
So, yeah.
Okay, to throw it in, so you can put a little bit in your soup or your stew or your chili to make as a flavoring device. So you're only using less than an ounce per person, or using a very small amount. You know what
what happens to that meat, Dr. Fuhrman? That's what I wanted you to talk about. What happens when you cook the meat in an oil and
you
broil?
Barbecue or you fry.
That's it. Yes.
Then you form heterocyclic amines, N-nitrosamino compounds, other reactive oxygen species, and you cause damage. It's called the Maillard reaction, M-A-L-L-A-R-D, which browns and darkens foods and makes that portion of the food carcinogenic. So that's another reason why fast food and animal products served in fast food restaurants that are barbecued, grilled, or flame broiled that are more dangerous. You're right. And what we do is we take, let's say if I'm making a chili, I can take some tofu, extra firm tofu that we freeze it in the freezer first. You take it out of the freezer and then you crumble it, and it makes it chewy and firm. So when you get these little pieces of firm, chewy tofu, it has the mouthfeel of meat. Yes. You can also do tempeh, which in these foods, they suck up the flavor. So if a person's using a bean-based chili, and if they added a couple of ounces of meat to serve 6 people, they can get the flavor of the meat, but only 2 ounces to serve 6 people. So people are eating a very small amount of it. So some people on Nutritarian diet choose to do that. They're not strict vegans, but you can do a Nutritarian diet where you restrict animal products to low levels, or you can just do it on a vegan diet, either one. But either way, the Nutritarians are eating mostly plant foods and all the rich phytochemicals. These longevity proteins that control your telomeres from aging and maintain your stem cells so they can replace senescent tissue and aging tissue to keep you young and healthy. Mm-hmm. Those are maintained by the phytochemicals in plant and colorful plants. So the more we have what maintains our stem cells, what slows aging is 3 things: high phytochemical intake, moderate caloric restriction, and exercise. That's it. Just those 3 things.
Can you repeat that again? High phytochemical.
The 3 things that maintain your stem cells and telomeres to make you age slower are high phytochemical intake. That means we have to eat less calories, moderate caloric restriction, and exercise.
Okay.
What drives mTOR, which is present in 100% of invasive cancers, AMP kinase or NPK is in a seesaw relationship with mTOR. So as AMP kinase is one of the longevity proteins, and we live longer when that is stimulated. But when that goes down, mTOR goes up. What stimulates mTOR and promotes cancer, promotes insulin resistance and obesity and cancer is, of course, both excess animal protein and excess refined carbohydrates. In other words, both animal protein and refined carbohydrates accelerate your death. And, of course, excess calories accelerates your death and not being active. So it's the opposite. Right? Mm-hmm. We want our diet to be relatively low in protein, relatively low in glycemic carbohydrates, particularly we're talking here about white rice, honey, maple syrup, and white flour products, commercial baked goods. Commercial baked goods are a double whammy because they're high glycemic and they are grilled or darkened or browned on the outside, which means they form of acrylamides, which then have further carcinogenic effects as well.
We need to bring this information to our children in school because so many people are hearing this today and they're going to go, they're not going to pay attention to it. But if we're taught this from child, like you've taught your children, like at the beginning, the question is, how do I transition my 5-year-old? It's a lot easier to transition your 5-year-old than your 15-year-old or your 20-year-old. And so, this is information, Dr. Fuhrman. You need to create one for the schools, a program for schools so that they can be taught nutrition like this nutrition in schools. And hopefully that would change our future of disease as well. So
that's exactly what my goals and what I'm aiming for is that it's not about teaching doctors nutrition. It's about teaching children nutrition. Yeah. It's about having it be taught throughout the whole school system. You don't wait till you get sick at the end of your life to learn about nutrition. You should be on the right diet your whole life, and children should be taught about it. And children should be instructed and taught how to improve the diet of their parents. Just like we taught children how to help their parents, that their parents shouldn't be smoking, and the parents shouldn't be smoking around them. And
Yeah.
the parents shouldn't be alcoholics and drinking around them either. They shouldn't be dumping donuts around them either.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you heard the man. It's time to teach our children, and I'm so excited that Cersei is doing that right now, and I hope that we're all doing that and make that commitment to bring our children the health we want that we maybe not taught. And we're going to continue our conversation off the air. You can join us at Facebook Live at Lillian's radio show. We're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Fuhrman when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
Okay, so we have a question from Yvonne. Yvonne is from Malaysia, Dr. Fuhrman. So she's listening from Malaysia today, and she's asking you, does frequent detox support a better capacity to handle more fat in diet?
No. What does she mean by, I'm not sure what she means by frequent detox. Your body's always detoxing, but we detox and heal and repair more effectively in a non-feeding state. So when calories are coming into the bloodstream, the body is storing those calories away, and the liver's busy turning that and storing it. So and transforming those calories so they can be stored, and taking the extra protein and making hormones. So when we're in the feeding and digestive state, we're not in the detox phase. We're detoxing most effectively after digestion ceases. And the more you live not eating, the more you live in that catabolic phase, not eating, the more you detox. The more you put more calories into your bloodstream, the less you're going to detox. The more frequently you eat, the less you're going to detox. But the most important time not to eat is before bedtime. We want that extended catabolic window at night. We want to go to bed on an empty stomach. We want to finish dinner early, and an extended time through the nighttime. So if you're detoxing, can you tolerate more fat? What does that mean? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe you would like to elaborate, Yvonne. Maybe you may want to add to your question. But I know, Dr. Fuhrman, when we did the show on slowing down the aging process, we believe that a faster metabolism is a good thing because it keeps you slender and you can eat more food. So, and the faster metabolism. And so I remember in researching the show, I was surprised when I found out that a slower metabolism is what keeps us from aging. So would you like to elaborate on that? We have about 30 seconds before we get started.
That's right. When we just moderately undershoot our calories, and the only way we can comfortably, moderately undershoot calories is by eating a lot of high fiber, high nutrient foods, because it suppresses the appetite. And because the foods are not all, and like for beans, for example, all the calories aren't digested. So when we're slim and we just try to underreach just a hair, it slows down our metabolic rate, so we age slower. Our metabolic rate is the rate at which we age. Mm-hmm. And we want our body temperature.
10 seconds to music.
Okay, sorry, Dr. Fuhrman. Okay, thank you. Okay, here we go.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show /classroom, where we could be heard worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I'm loving all the people from all over the world tuning in to the Lillian McDermott radio show. And I hope that you are sharing this information, getting more people excited about this new truth that we talk about on the show. When we were children, we were taught one way, but that doesn't support us anymore. We need to learn this new truth so that we can eliminate this disease format that we have bought into, this pill-taking format that we have bought into. And I remember one of the shows that I just love, all the memories and all the times that I've been with Dr. Fuhrman. I remember us talking about if there wasn't a pill, if there wasn't a pill for whatever symptom you have or diagnosis you have, what would you do? How would you live your life? And these are the kind of conversations that we need to sit with and really discover and dig deep. And how wonderful that we have the experts on the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. It costs me a lot, but it doesn't cost you a thing. So let's enjoy this information and let's grow together with it. And the way we can start is by becoming a subscriber at whenyouneedafriend.com. So please subscribe to my website while you're there. Check out all the social media buttons, subscribe and follow us so that you know when we're going to be on live, and you can be a part of the audience with all our teachers on the show. While you're there, make sure that you check out the sponsors, because without my sponsors, this show would not happen. So I need for you to figure out ways to support my sponsors the way they're supporting the show. Some of the sponsors that we have are Liberty Health Share. We have Keep Me Safe Organics, First Alternative Care. And we have, if you're local to Brevard County, the pharmacy. These are people who believe in the show and want the show to grow. So help us expand this by sharing, by liking and following and all that. And you can listen on podcast as well. And you can call 407-373-5959, or you can go onto my website and send me a message on Messenger. So there were so many different ways to be like-minded and stay connected. Now, today we are talking to world-renowned New York Times bestselling author, Dr. Joel Fuhrman, and he's taking your questions. And so off the air, we've taken some questions from our followers on Facebook Live at Lillian's radio show. And so now we're going to be doing a little bit of switching. So the next question, Dr. Fuhrman, and thank you so much. Is that your dog? Do we get your dog making an appearance? Now,
just ignore him.
We're going to ignore the dog. We're going to ignore the dog. Okay. So, and you don't walk your dog. You walk your dog, don't you? You were talking about walking. Huh?
I was running in the woods, and he stays right close to me as I'm running, not even on a leash. He just stays right by me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay.
I'll quiet him. Okay.
Yeah. So Amy Rosen, she says, I exercise and eat a plant-based, but and still have osteoporosis issues. Any advice? That's her first question. And she says she takes your osteo from your, and also your women's multi, how to overcome, and then the next question is how to overcome muscular dystrophy. That's the next question that kind of blended with that one. So with that, because we're eating a healthier lifestyle, will that help us with any reversing osteoporosis? What can you say about that, Dr. Fuhrman?
Well, eating right, and even the supplements she's taking with the K2 and the vitamin D and a little food-derived calcium will help resist losing more bone, but it's not going to reverse the disease. The only way you can reverse the disease is by doing exercise, because your bone, you could damage your bones by being vitamin D deficient, and then you're no longer vitamin D deficient. It's not going to restore the bones and the muscle mass back. It's probably just going to prevent you from losing more, or from slowing the rate at which you're losing it down. Mm-hmm. If you want to build it back, you have to do exercise. So it's wearing a weighted vest. It's using a power plate that vibrates and doing exercises. It's going to the gym and lifting heavy weights with low reps. It's that women have to, because our bone density is directly proportional to our muscle strength. And if you could substitute that word in your head, osteoporosis, to think it means weak muscles, because you can't have weak bones without weak muscles, and you can't have strong bones without strong muscles. So the only way you can build your bone is by getting stronger. And the only way you can get stronger is you can't get stronger by taking vitamin pills sitting in a chair. You have to get up and down from the chair to get that to happen. Get up and down from the chair 20 times in a row. You know what I mean? So it's like people have to be exercising their entire life.
Yes. You need to do a vitamin that's 25 pounds. So when they lift up the vitamin, it's Dr. Fuhrman 25-pound vitamin, so that we can all build weight while we're taking our vitamins. So that's good. Anything else about osteoporosis that you would like to add before I move on to the next question?
Well, it is helpful for people to take that little extra food-derived calcium, not a lot of calcium at one time, because if it flushes in the bloodstream too strong, it can have suppressive effects on vitamin D. So making sure your vitamin D is adequate and making sure you're eating a healthy diet, and maybe a little extra calcium as we get older is better as calcium absorption goes down. We want to use food-derived calcium, a little bit of extra at each meal, not high-dose vitamin pills of calcium. You want to take it, the body sees it as coming in a little with each meal, like you take in food. That's the best way to help rebuild the bones. And then you add the right exercise to that. And a Nutritarian diet is a protein-adequate plant-based diet. So it's protein-adequate means it includes hemp seeds and soybeans and and other beans and broccoli and a lot of high protein foods that support muscle growth. And some vegan diets, which may be rice or potato-based, may not have sufficient protein bioavailability, especially as people age, to maintain enough muscle strength, and those are going to accelerate osteoporosis too. So we're trying to hit all the boxes just to make sure you do everything right.
Very good. Now, just a follow-up question on the calcium. I've been told that in order to take a calcium supplement, it must have magnesium in order for it to work. Is that real or not? Is that a myth?
No, not if you ate a healthy diet, because green vegetables and other things you're eating are very high in magnesium. So that might be true on an American diet, because they've got sufficient in magnesium, but not when your diet is high in magnesium. You're taking magnesium in the rest of the foods you're eating, you're taking a little extra food to drive calcium. Magnesium's good to take a little bit with it, but it's not going to make a difference because your diet's already magnesium adequate.
Okay, got it. Okay, so the question that I needed to put a space on was how to overcome muscular dystrophy. Now, is that something that we can fix with food, Dr. Fuhrman?
No, it's primarily a genetic disease. So it's not. Some diseases that good food can suppress the genetic alterations and genetic defects, but some diseases are predominantly genetic. They're not. You can't suppress the expression of those genes because the gene itself is too damaged. So it's not a disease in which nutrition can enable a person to get well.
Okay. So perhaps maybe it'll help with eating healthier is good for everybody anyway. So There we go. Okay, so from Jess, she wants to know if clean filtered water is important. And she says, an issue these days, can you recommend a water filter that removes dioxin, PFAs, etc.?
Yes, I do recommend a person use a series of filters and a reverse osmosis, a water purification system for their house, so they separate the drinking water with a separate spigot, that they invest some money in getting good quality water. I can't give a brand name or type of machine. There are numerous companies that make good machines that take everything out of the water.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing a water fast at the end of April, I believe, and so a group reached out to us. It's zero installation, and it's a reverse osmosis. It almost looks like a coffee machine, and we're going to be giving away 4. So I'm excited about that. And that's a great value. So I hope you guys keep tuning in and subscribe so that you know when we're going to be giving that. But we're going to do a water fast. And so that is part of drinking good water. So very good. So reverse osmosis is what you recommend, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Dr. Fuhrman, another question for you is, how do you de-stress? You have a very active schedule. I know I only see bits and pieces of it, but you're a very busy person. How do you calm your nerves? How do you stay active and focused and relaxed?
I like to exercise. So I usually, it depends on the season. If I can go skiing, play tennis, go for a swim, go for a jog, ride a bike, or go for a hike in the woods. So I just spend some time to do things I like to do, which is usually I like to do something that involves moving my body, play ping pong with my son, so I just do something. I don't work all the time. I take breaks. But you know what I do? I take breaks to do is I go take a break to take care of my plants. I might be working in the garden or be taking care of my hobby, my trees in the greenhouse. So I may be watering my plants or be potting a plant. So I'll take a break during the day and do something else for a half hour and go back to work or something.
Very good. I love that. I love You know, nature does the body good. You know, they say milk does the body good. Not so true. But nature, it really does do the body good. And we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Joel Fuhrman. Off the air, you can join us at Lillian's radio show /Lillian, Facebook.com/Lillian's radio show, where we have the conversations that you don't hear on the radio. So join us whenever you can. Just get here when you can. And we're going to continue our conversation with Dr. Fuhrman when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
So, Dr. Fuhrman, we have Ibrahim. He says, hello, healthy family. Hello back to you in Jordan. He's watching in Jordan, so I'm really excited about that. And so we have Martha. Martha is asking if there's anything to help someone with anxiety attacks. And if we don't finish this question, we can bring this into the broadcast as well. She says she and her husband have taken sugar and grains out of their diet. So any advice for Martha, Dr. Fuhrman?
It's the whole diet, not just taking the sugar and grains out. She has to eat, So we're talking about a Nutritarian diet. It includes a big salad every day with nuts and seeds, including flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. So that we want the person with anxiety to have those short-chain omega-3 fats, the ALA, not just the EPA and DHAs, but they need both. So we want them to be we want them to have the walnuts, the flax seeds, the chia seeds, and still take the DHA and EPA for like a vegan source or an algae source, EPA and DHA, so the fatty acids are normalized. And in those cases, with anxiety, we try to give people some relaxing herbs such as saffron, skullcap, nettles. We give them something, to make sure that they're producing sufficient serotonin. Sometimes it helps for them to get out in the sunshine in the morning and get morning light or use a light box. So we very often will treat anxiety the same way as we treat depression, and then we give them light therapy. And then just to make sure there's some relation between anxiety, violence, and depression with people with extremely low cholesterol. So we may want to check a blood test to see how low her cholesterol is. If it's extremely low, then in that case, if she's having anxiety, we may give them a little coconut oil, particularly to raise their cholesterol.
Interesting. How coconut oil might be helpful in that situation.
So we do give them oils in that situation, a higher dose of fish oil or omega-3 oils, and a little bit, and maybe even a little coconut oil too, to bring their fat levels up, because the body needs those to make those neurotransmitters in certain people who are sensitive to that, who are anxious.
Okay, very good. Well, it looks like we're about to get muted, Dr. Fuhrman. Good timing.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show /classroom, where we are learning together. This is a place where I have been so privileged to have the best of the best come on the show, and Dr. Joel Fuhrman is on today, and I'm thrilled every time. I learn something new. All these years, Dr. Fuhrman, your books, everything. Every time you come on the show, I learn something new. So thank you so much for keeping us all on the know, because there's so much out there, Dr. Fuhrman, that, that the media would want us, this disposable society, eat this, feel good, why not? And all these, it's like entitlement that ends up hurting us in the long run.
No, I think that's true. I think that not only is the media, the pharmaceutical companies, the medical profession, they've taken over the media. So, and they control so much of the information, including lobbyists and politicians. So it's really hard everything's promoted towards people taking drugs and making drugs be the sole solution. And if it's not a drug solution, or it's anti-drug or questioning of the drug or the conventional medical approach, it's attacked.
Mm-hmm.
and trying to, so there's billions and billions of dollars being put to advertise and to falsely advertise and promote drugs and to make it look like, for example, that statins, to make them look like they're so protective when they're really not, or make it look like diabetic medication or so we always have extra faith in doctors prescribing drugs. In reality, we're getting a very distorted pictures of how helpful those medications can be.
Yeah, it's sad. They are training us to believe a certain way. And when you were being trained as a doctor, did you feel that what they were teaching you did not resonate with you? Because you knew a lot about nutrition when you decided to go back to become a doctor. How did you handle that when they're teaching you medication management?
Right. Well, they gave lip service to, if people can get healthy and not have to need medication, that's better to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
They proceeded to never talk about, hardly even mention that. It seemed like the drug approach was the only approach that people would be willing to do. And that's not when people are properly informed, when they really have true informed consent, when they know how dangerous these medications really are and how the side effects and the increased risk of cancer from taking drugs is kept from us. And these things aren't adequately studied. So whenever you put a medicinal substance in your body, you're paying a price. They're not, you're shortening your lifespan. For that matter, when you put in empty calories in your body, you're shortening your life.
Mm-hmm.
So we really have to be careful what we put in our bodies. And we want to live in a manner to avoid the need for medicinal substances as much as we possibly can. And that means avoiding the need for natural substances that are medicinal too, if we can. We
Mm-hmm.
want to not be medicated by the alternative practitioners either. We want to be able to live in a manner to avoid the need for any kind of care. We should not need health professionals. We should be our own health professional. You know what I mean? So we live in a healthy manner so we can stay away from health professionals as much as possible.
Yes, we need to be our own MDs, medical detectives. We need to figure out what our bodies need, how we need to treat our bodies now. How we treat our bodies now will come out 20 years down the road, right, Dr. Fuhrman?
That's exactly right.
Yes. Okay, so Beverly Woods, she says she loves your books, Dr. Fuhrman, and she wants to if you could suggest something for gallstones.
Well, and by the way, just to make these clear, all these individual personal questions, at drfuhrman.com, people can join the membership and be able to ask me their own personal questions.
Yes.
It doesn't mean I can help everything. I can give them some advice.
Yes.
Gallstones come from unhealthy eating. If they're not bothering you and you eat healthy, they can shrink and go away with time, with years. I mean, there's a medication called Actigol, which helps dissolve gallstones.
Actigol?
Actigol, yes. There's a medication that can help dissolve gallstones so people don't have to have surgery if the gallstones, may dissolve if they're not too big. But there are also gallstones that can obstruct the common bile duct and cause an infection and cause an emergency where a person needs an emergency surgery. So if you have the type of stone that's putting you at risk, causing pain, or can obstruct, or having high liver function, it's in some cases, laparoscopic surgery is the most conservative approach because waiting and using nutrition is too risky because you could have a stone get stuck in there, which can cause you to get a fever and septic and be in the hospital on antibiotics and even die. So we're talking about the fact that sometimes the right thing to do is just remove the gallstones. If you ate healthfully, did not fluctuate your weight, and ate a Nutritarian diet, of course, you wouldn't have formed the gallstones. And in most cases, we can do nothing, and they'll go away and shrink down over many years gradually. But that doesn't mean all people should use a natural approach. Some people, because of the nature and size and placement of the stones, they should have them removed. So it varies from person to person.
So just a follow-up question on that. When you remove the gallstones, can you leave the gallbladder? Because, everybody gets their gallbladder removed because they have gallstones.
Right. No, you have to take the gallbladder out with it.
Is that how you do it? Okay. I just wanted to see if there was like a surgery where they can just, like when you have kidney stones, you remove the stone. But when you have gallstones, you have to remove the whole gallbladder. And the gallbladder is important.
Good point. Well, yes, but the gallbladder mostly is important when we're eating foods like high-fat meats and things. It's more important. If we're eating a really healthy diet, you don't need any extra bile. And it solubilizes fat, so it's not really. If you're eating healthy, you don't have to have your gallbladder intact. You'll be okay without your gallbladder.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay. So Beverly also asked, she says her mom had triple bypass and pneumonia, and she is on a no salt, no fat diet, and she was asking your opinion. What do you think about that?
Well, that's a no fat diet. I don't know what that means, no fat diet. She should be on a Nutritarian diet. Nutritarian diet is the healthiest diet in the world, and it's the healthiest diet for heart disease patients. And it's not no fat. There's some nuts and seeds in it. The studies show, the large-scale epidemiologic studies, like Adventist Health Studies 2, so that taking all the fat out of your diet and removing oil and nuts and seeds increases your risk of cardiovascular death. So I would say that's not a wise thing to do, to be on no fat. But maybe, but a nutritarian diet is designed to be rich in nutrients and phytochemicals and vegetables, and be the same note, and she shouldn't be adding added salt. So that would be the healthiest thing for her.
So maybe she
I
meant,
have a book called The End of Heart Disease. They
yes,
should read the book, The End of Heart Disease.
End of Heart Disease is a great book. I mean, all your books are wonderful, Dr. Fuhrman. Even your PDFs and that you do, like the 10 and 20 detox and all those wonderful books that you have that are, it's a quick read. It's for us. And so this is a way that we can love our bodies back, is by educating ourselves and learning to be or embrace a nutritarian lifestyle. So Dr. Fuhrman, one question is, how do you face challenges especially when you have people that are addicted? How do you help them with these addictions?
Well, we don't always succeed. You do the best we can with giving them support. I have food addiction counselors. I have a psychotherapist that works with me, that works with some of these people. And, frankly, that's why I opened up my Eat to Live retreat in San Diego, because people could stay there for 2 to 3 months and help get rid of their addictions, because it's hard for people when they're so food addicted to do it on their own. So I've been doing this for 30 years, and I want to help people. And that's why my books, I want them to read, and I have the videos, and they come on the website, and I speak to them, and I have a whole FAR program of people in my office call from all over the world, and they get set up with a counselor. We have food addictions counselors that work with them. But I also have a retreat where people can come in and stay there. So because this is real, and this is real serious, life-threatening things. Food addiction is the leading cause of death in the world. Mm. In other words, food addiction causes heart attacks, strokes, cancers, obesity, diabetes. It's killing people. And you can't control your appetite, you can't control the quality of what you eat, then you can't control your life. This is a real problem. So that's really what my specialty is, but it's not always easy. Every person doesn't come off cigarette smoking. Every person doesn't quit cocaine. We have failures. Some people still eat fast food and junk food and stay overweight in spite of even knowing this. So it's very powerful. We need a professional team, and these people need help. But with the right information and the right, and then the chances of helping these people is so much increased, and my success rate is really phenomenal. So I'm not saying I can help everybody, but at least we can help the vast majority of people.
Well, Dr. Fuhrman, it is always so wonderful. Maybe we can have maybe a 5-minute conversation afterwards, after the show. We absolutely love it every time you come on. So thank you, Dr. Fuhrman.
My pleasure.
And to you, my listening friend, when you know better, you do better. You cannot unlearn truth. And what you're hearing today is a way to take your health back. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
So, Dr. Fuhrman, thank you so much for your time. And I know that it's late in the day. We're now doing this 5 o'clock, trying something new. And I hope that everybody can join us and spread the good news. Is there anything that you would like to share with our viewers now that you have us privately? We have you privately. Is there anything you would like to add to the conversation that we didn't ask, or maybe that you feel that you wanted to share?
No, it's just the most exciting and thrilling thing is to watch people earn their health back, and you felt so good and so accomplished when a person loses the weight, they keep losing it, and they get to their favorite weight and they keep it off the rest of their life. You see, 5 years, and you know that they know that you've changed them, not who they are as a person, you've changed their personality. They think more clearly, they're happier. It's just, that's the most thrilling part. And the most disappointing part is when you know a person's very sick and in trouble and they don't do it, and they go and then you see these tragedies happen, and you know it could have been prevented, and that's somewhat frustrating. And that's where we're all in this together, because you know, the more people who are encouraging, motivating, they say put the oxygen mask on yourself first,
Yes.
the more people are living a healthy life, the more easier it is to get other people to live healthy and join them.
Yeah, and it's becoming more and more difficult with all the commercials that we see, all the misinformation that we're getting. And, you know, to go back on what you said about the media and how this information is not on the media, you know, the majority of the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry, those are the people that are promoting and advertising on television. And so with that in mind, we have to be very careful with our sponsors. That's why I only have like-minded sponsors, and I don't want to be censored. And so how do we protect ourselves from, you know, how do you handle, Dr. Fuhrman, and maybe this will be a better question, how do you handle going to a party? How do you handle without feeling rude to the host or the hostess? And, you know, how do you handle all these celebrations, the sugar celebrations, the same, even when you go to a wake, the same foods that killed that person, now we're eating and celebrating of their life. So what would you like to say? How can we protect ourselves against, you know, this, I would say the word is like pressure to eat like everybody else eats?
I don't feel that, because I see that every public occasion like that is an opportunity to perhaps have goodwill for some person. And by myself not imbibing on that stuff and enjoying my own things I either brought along, or I want to eat, or I do eat, in other words, it gives me an opportunity to meet people, to discuss how they can improve their health, to show them how great tasting healthy food can be. And if it's 1 in 100 chance of having a good effect on somebody, at least there's a potential possibility. Once you're imbibing in that junk and you've ruined your own health with them, you have 0 chance of having a good effect on somebody. So it's the opportunity to have goodwill for other people. And part of that is being a great role model yourself. You can't be a role model in public, then you've missed your opportunity to have goodwill for people and to try to change that and to help them.
Very good point. Thank you. I love bringing my food to parties, and I love seeing the people's faces when they try something that isn't traditional. Like I'll make a dessert, or I'll make, you know, something that they're thinking yuck, but then when they look at it, it's appealing. It's really nice looking. I mean, your dessert recipes are absolutely wonderful, and all your recipes are wonderful. So whenever we share that, that's the best way.
People can't appreciate them unless they get healthy, because when they get healthy, their taste buds improve. They can't even appreciate. I see so many people don't even appreciate the great recipes because their taste buds are so weakened and so jaded and so distorted. They can't even enjoy the flavor of natural foods anymore.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So thank you. Until next month, we get to have another conversation with you. Right. I wish you well. And I wish all of you who are watching on Facebook and later on YouTube or on the radio later on too, well. And I hope that you take this and share it and like it and forward it to all your friends. And I think the best way, Dr. Fuhrman, I think you would agree, is to attract people that want to eat like you and create your own little tribe. That's why we have the Heal Tribe. You can join our Heal Tribe because your vibe attracts your tribe. So it's time to take your health back and create the world that you want. So thank you so much. And we're going to say goodbye to all of you on Facebook and on YouTube. See ya.